So in recent years, many have been put off Facebook ads because the cost of these ads have been on the rise. But if we take a look on screen here, it paints a very different picture. We can see although the cost of someone viewing your Facebook ad has increased year on year, the CPM, the average cost of someone clicking on your ad, the cost per click here, has remained relatively stable year on year, across the last 4 years actually, at about 40 cents cost per click. And also, the average Facebook user still clicks on 12 ads per month, and 78% of users in the US have made purchases through Facebook ads. That's still quite a lot. But it is definitely more challenging these days to create ads that are profitable, but it can still be done. The answer is to create an optimized ad that is personalized for the user, which is what we've been doing right here with our own ads, but it's something surprisingly that businesses still aren't doing well. In this full video tutorial, I'll guide you through the best way to run an optimized Facebook and Instagram ad this year by going over everything from the setup of Ads Manager all the way through to creating the best video ads that'll bring buyers to your business and not the other way around. If this all sounds good to you, drop a like on this video, make sure you're subscribed, and let's get stuck right into today's video tutorial. The first thing you want to do is head onto the URL business.facebook.com. And as you can see on screen here, Meta has changed the look and interface immediately of the sign up page. And what they've done here is they've made it a lot more easier, a lot more simple to guide new users who are about to create ads. So you're going to go ahead and set up an account by clicking create an account. And then you're going to log into your Facebook account. So I'm going to log into my dummy account, which I've just created so I can guide you guys through this tutorial. So make sure you go ahead and sign in, then sign up for an account and just follow the guide. The very first thing that you want to do is familiarize yourself with the interface and with your tools, because you're going to be spending a lot of time in this portal. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you know where everything is. The very first thing to do then is click Ads Manager on the left-hand side. And then from here, you're going to see, the very famous Facebook ads interface. And this is where we're going to be creating all our ads. I want to quickly show you what to look out for here and the main important sort of interface tools that we want to be using. So at the very top of your ad structure is your campaigns. So this is where we create campaigns for your products, your services, whatever you're selling. And I'll get into that in a moment on how to structure all of this. But at the very top, you have your campaigns. Once you click into it, you have your ad sets. And this is where you modify all the different targeting options, your audiences. Then when you go deeper into your ad sets, and imagine this as like a branch, a tree branch that grows wider and wider. At the very bottom level, you have your ads. And with your ads, this is where you control the creative, the video, the images, the copy, the offer, that sort of stuff. And so that's the main sort of structure when it comes to a Facebook ad and an Instagram ad. And these are the important tools that I also want to show you. So if you click on the 3 bars here, this is where we can see different metrics when we start to optimize our ad. Again, I'll go into more detail about this later in the video, but I just want to give you a general idea because this is pretty important stuff. So you can filter by setup, by delivery, by engagement, and look at different metrics and stats when we optimize ads. This is a really important tool. Then we can also filter by time, by delivery, and by action. So you can filter by age, gender, country, region, etc. And then also by time and things like that. Then you can use the breakdown tool here to see the specific stats. You can also draw out reports and export them. And then there's more tools like, A/B split testing, which is split testing different ads together. You can delete ads here and add rules and manage your pre-existing rules. So those are some of the top level type tools that we can use immediately right on the interface. But now let's move on to how to actually create an ad and how to create an effective one and where to start, because I know it's pretty intimidating when you first start with Facebook and Instagram ads. So let's enter where to start and how to start. And a very common question I get is, how do we begin to personalize the ads to your own business? And it's been a pretty tough question to answer because every business is so different. You might run an e-commerce store or a real estate agency or a digital marketing agency or a digital product business. The list goes on and on. But Meta has released a really useful tool recently where it auto-generates a business plan for your business. So if you head onto the Facebook business plan tool, which is brand new, I'll link to it in the description box for convenience. You're going to hit this page here, and then you're just going to answer all the prompts and questions. So go ahead and click create a plan. It'll ask you things like, how would you describe your business? We're a small business, then click next. Are you interested in using Instagram in addition to Facebook? Click yes. Which industry best describes your business? Let's click e-commerce in this case, etc., etc. Basically, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. Go ahead, take your time, answer those questions, and it's going to tailor a business plan and a guide to your specific business. So hopefully that'll give you a good understanding and a start that helps you with this specific video tutorial that you're watching right now. Okay, so once you've gone through the survey and Meta has given you the recommendations on the types of ads you should focus on, there is one more very important tool to use before we build out an ad. And it's time to run the very important competitor research with this tool here. Because as marketers always say, you don't need to reinvent the wheel when there's already a bazillion amazing ads out there. And so we're going to use this tool called the ad library. Again, I'll link it down in the description box so you can follow on. And the ad library shows you essentially almost all of the ads out there that are currently live. So we can use this tool to spy and use competitor research. I wouldn't say spy, that's a bit intrusive, but competitor research on similar products that you want to sell, similar services that you want to sell. And I'll give you a few examples. So once you land on this page here, you want to search for, I'm going to say global, so all countries. Ad category is going to be all ads. And then you can either search by keyword or you can search by advertiser. I recommend going with both approaches. So let's just say in this specific instance, we are selling tech accessories. So what I would do is I would find a list of great brands that you follow or you know of within this niche, and then look up their ads. So if we're selling tech accessories, one of my favorite brands actually is Nomad. They just make amazing products, and also their ads and their video ads are amazing. And I'm going to show you this now. So we can literally just type in Nomad and then click their page, and you can see all their ads right here that are currently live. So these are the ones launched in December 2022, so last year. And this right here, you can see the details of where they're posting this ad, the specific ad itself, where it links to, and also the ad copy. So this is just extremely useful for getting some ideas to roll with, and then you can start creating ads based off that. That's the best way, honestly, to approach Facebook ads as a beginner, because you're able to look at what's already working. You can also filter the ads by clicking the filter button here, and then you can filter by language, by platforms, by media types even, whether it's images, even memes, images and memes and videos, etc., that sort of stuff. And then by date. Speaking of date, you can tell if they've been running an ad for a long time. Let's just say that, let's scroll all the way down, right? They've been running this ad for a year. What that usually means typically is that ad has been working for them. Because if you think about it, if an ad has not been working for them and it hasn't been profitable, they would not be running that ad for a full year. So taking a look at the ads here, you can see that it's very simple, it's clean, the photo is eye-catching, and there's actually very minimal copy and text here. It's just get the gift you wanted. Or this one here, let's take a look at this. This is a carousel ad, just a bunch of different phone cases. And again, I'll get into the details of creating an amazing ad in just a moment. But yeah, my point here is make sure you use this tool. It is a terrific tool to use. It'll get the ball rolling and the creative juices flowing. Okie dokie, so once you have a good idea of what your competitor ads look like, it's time for my personal favorite part, which is actually creating the video and image ad. And here's how we're going to build out a winning ad. And this is the most important step this year. And it's creating a video ad, specifically a short form video. So creating the right video ad will single-handedly make or break your success on Facebook ads. The reason for this is because Facebook video ads continues to grow in popularity because they're by far the most effective. This isn't surprising when you consider, that TikTok and Instagram Reel formats have been on the rise, and they also allow businesses like you and I to tell in-depth stories and showcase their products in the most eye-catching way. The easiest way I've found to create effective video ads as a beginner is by using a tool called InVideo, and they're kindly sponsoring today's tutorial. InVideo is a web-based video editor with ready-made video ad templates, so we can create Facebook video ads within literally minutes. So let's jump into the platform here and start creating video ads to use step by step. So if you use the link below this video, InVideo is generously providing 25% discounts off paid plans to my audience, but you can always start with just a free account. So once you're in the dashboard, click on templates. This is where we're going to start, and then click search. I'm going to search for tech accessories. You can search for literally any type of product or service that you're using, and then just go ahead and browse the templates. They're all optimized for ads. So I'm just going to choose one here. I'm going to go with this one. I think it looks pretty good. So let's move forward. And then I'm going to go ahead and click portrait and then click use templates. And then just give it a second to import over. And this is how we're going to create really fast ads within 10 minutes or so. So let's do this together. Let's first upload the media files. So make sure you have photos of your products or service or whatever it might be. I'm going to import them in right now. And then you'll see that it's going to be all over on the left-hand side. I'm going to drag our business logo into the logo section here. And as easy as that, we have a logo on the ad already. And then click uploads. And then this is where all the photos that I've uploaded are. And then it's as simple as just dragging and dropping, and that's how easy it is to replace images as part of this ad. And by the way, all these templates are optimized for Facebook ads, so there's going to be a great conversion rate with these types of ads. Okay, now we have our product photo in this ad. There's a few other elements that we obviously need to change, including the text here. So I'm just going to drag these down, make it look better aligned. And then let's start with the main header here. So I'm going to go ahead, change this to something a bit more catchier, a bit more relevant to this specific product, triple chargers, and then change the sub caption. As you can see, it's really fast to change all of this. I'm going to go ahead and let's type out get all 3 devices fast charged. So now that we have that in there, now we have that copy in there, let's go ahead and change the look of this ad, because the first slide is obviously the most important. This is where people will see your ad immediately. So I'm going to change the fill, the canvas fill, immediately to a more on brand look, to a sort of blue. You can also save your brand colors there. Then I'm going to click save, and then change the font colors to white, just so we have that nice contrast, that immediate aesthetic, so your eye is caught by the ad. Another important element that we should change is the font. Again, you want to make sure that it is very eye-catching for the first few seconds of the video. So what I'm going to do is also change it to full caps here. Change both the header and the description into caps. Get all your devices fast charged. Change the size slightly just so it looks a little cleaner here. I think that looks a bit small. There we go. Okay, so moving on to the second slide here, changing it to the previous colored background as well. First thing I'm going to change is, of course, the product image. And while I change that, I'm going to show you something really cool with InVideo. So you can see that the product image that I've dragged in has a white background. You can go ahead and just click remove background, and then immediately it's going to remove that background for you into a transparent image, as you can see here. And then I'm going to click done, and there we go. It looks so much cleaner. So these are the small elements that is just so easy to do on InVideo, and it would take much longer on other applications. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the logo too. And then once we have that done, I've also brought over the other font, the Montserrat font, and I'm going to change the features here. So with the features here, again, these templates are built specifically to convert, so I wouldn't deviate from them too much. But what I would do is just clean them up and customize them. And it's as simple as just changing the font, and then dragging and dropping items, and then just dragging items around. As you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just cleaning up this slide. With these video ads, make sure that you are not wasting any space at all. So in this specific template, we get 3 dot points. Make sure that you communicate the benefits and features of your service or your product. So I'm going to go ahead and change these. I'm going to save you time and just type out as a placeholder benefit 2 and 3, just to give you an idea of what you should be adding into these video ads. And then the third and final slide, this is going to be your call to action slide. So make sure that people do take action. So what I'm going to do is insert in the price here of this charger. And then I'm going to add some scarcity, limited time only. Then I'm going to replace the stock image with an image that shows off the multiple benefits and features of the charger. Now I'm just cleaning up the rest of the ad just to make sure that it is relevant to my use case. And it's as simple as, again, just dragging and dropping items and dragging things around. Clicking delete, making sure that the logo is also there in this last slide, dragging, dropping it into that box there. Okay, so let's finalize this ad. I'm going to change the color of the font again, just to make sure it's consistent. Then also now click on the element, and I'm going to search for a buy now element. So I'm going to scroll down and see if there's a relevant. So I'm going to use one of these buy now buttons. So this is an interactive button that is eye-catching. Again, something as simple as just dragging and dropping this button into this ad, and then you've got an interactive animated element as part of this ad. So I'm going to go ahead and do this as well for the first slide. I've just searched for e-commerce in the elements search bar. I've got this 10% off element that I want to drag in, and this looks a whole lot more catchier. So as easy as that. Then finally, of course, the music element of this ad. I'm going to go for something a bit more relevant to tech. So just listening to different tunes, and this is all royalty free, by the way. So it's all included in your plan, which is amazing. So you can use it as often and as much as you need. So this sounds way better. And I think this is quite relevant to this techie product. And I'm just gonna review it. It looks pretty good to me. So let's finalize this ad and go ahead and export the ad right up here. Make sure that is exported in the highest possible quality, so 1080p. A heads up, you'll only be able to export these videos watermark free in full HD with a paid plan, so go ahead and check out the 25% discount in the link below. The paid plan also gives us access to a load of premium paid stock media from iStock and Shutterstock under the videos tab here, which is all included as part of the paid InVideo plans to make things that much easier. So now that we have a few video ads ready to go and test, here is the best way to set up your Facebook ads, and my recommended approach in this tutorial for beginners is to go with a mixture of sort of automatic and manual adjustments. But either way, I'll show you exactly what to do right here, so it's hopefully easier for you guys. So when we create an ad, let's click create, the green button here. Then you're going to be met with this interface. If you are an older Facebook user, you'll realize that some things have completely changed since my last tutorial. And basically, again, Facebook has made it very simple for beginners to use Facebook ads. Now, choose a campaign objective. They've changed the names of some of these, and they make it really easy to understand. So for the majority of you, you'll probably click sales. It's the same as conversion type ads. This is where we want to push sales. So in this case, we're creating an e-commerce ad. Let's click sales. If you went through the business plan and it's suggested to go with, let's say, leads because you're in a real estate agency, for example, then click on leads. But everything will still be somewhat applicable here across the board. Then make sure you click on the optional drop down, name your campaign I don't think this is optional. I think this is very important. Make sure you have some sort of naming convention so you can keep track of every single one of your campaigns. Typically, I like to name it, the type of campaign. So in this case, it'll be sales, and then I'll type in, the product here, for example, and then I'll type in whatever I'm testing. So it might be CBO, or they've actually renamed it, but I'll go into that in a second. But the point here is make sure that you're using a naming convention that works for you and you understand it. And then let's click continue. So once you click continue, I'm going to go down this list step by step so you're not missing any details here. So in special ad categories, if you are setting up ads that are political or, anything to do with these categories, you must let Facebook know. So whether it's credit, employment, housing, social issues, etc. These are touchy topics for Facebook, so make sure that you declare them. If you're not in these topics or categories, you're fine to go ahead. So now move down. We do not want a catalog campaign for this specific campaign. That's a bit more advanced. With A/B split test, if you don't know what this is, if you have multiple ads, which is what I recommend we have, you have multiple video ads, multiple sort of copy that you want to test and split test specifically, make sure you turn this on. It's really useful, particularly if you're new to Facebook and you're testing multiple different ads. So make sure you leave that on. Then you have what is technically a new feature. Well, at least they've renamed it anyway. It's called Advantage Campaign Budget. Now, for those of you who are OG Facebook users, you'll know this as CBO, Campaign Budget Optimization. They've essentially renamed it to Advantage Campaign Budget. I'm sure they've slightly tweaked the algorithm here, but it's essentially the same thing. And what it does is it allows you, the algorithm, to optimize the ad and make sure that your budget is best allocated to certain ad sets. Again, if you're a beginner, this is a great way to automize things and take things off your plate. So I recommend having it on in this case. Campaign budget really depends on multiple factors here. If you have any questions, by the way, leave it down below. I'll try to answer them. But basically, campaign budget, if you're just testing, you can stick with a $10, $20 budget per campaign and you should be fine. That's just a rule of thumb. And bid strategy options, we're not going to go into that. It's more advanced. And if you click show options, you can also edit when the ad is, how often the ad appears, if it's accelerated, if it's not, etc. That's the type of stuff. But you will need to click lifetime budget in order to edit that ad scheduling. Lifetime budget is saying like, I just want $100 spent throughout this time instead of a daily budget. But let's stick with daily budget in this case. So let's click next. So now we are on the ad set level. And again, multiple things have changed over the years. Where audience definition, it used to be then called estimated audience size. And before then actually it used to be called potential reach. And again, nothing really has changed. It's just things have been renamed. So audience definition, just make sure that you are not overly specific and not overly broad. I'm gonna help you guys with that audience targeting definition though, so don't worry. Going down here, we have conversions. Where do you want to push them to? Are you trying to push an app? Are you trying to get them to message? Are you trying to get them to drive sales to your website? In this case, let's go with website. I'm sure the majority of you want traffic to your website, so let's stick with website. And then make sure, if you haven't yet already, that you create a meta pixel. So just as a quick rundown, what a meta pixel is it's a little pixel, 1x1 pixel that sits on your website invisibly, and it collects data from the people that come onto the website. So we're able to understand what type of users are reaching your store. We're able to optimize your ads, things like that. And if you haven't yet already, I'm gonna leave a link to instructions on how to implement the pixel. It is a pretty straightforward process for the most part. Just to quickly go over it, you're going to go into Events Manager here, and then name your pixel, create it, then add it onto your website. That's the tricky part, because depending on what type of website you run, it's going to change the instructions. And that's why I don't want to just tell you how to do it in this video, because it really does depend on your website. The easiest way is just to use the link below, and then you'll see different options here. Manually add the pixel code to your website. You can use the event setup tool, or you can literally give it to a developer to implement into a custom website, for example. So once you've done that, make sure the metapixel is created and added in. And this dynamic creator function, I recommend turning on because, again, it automizes a lot of the work. It uses AI and it gives you a whole lot of recommendations and automatically creates images and headlines and generates these based on your audience and what might work. That being said, don't leave it entirely to this feature, but it's a great feature for those of you who are new and want to get ads up really quickly without having a load of marketing experience. I would turn this on. Make sure that you do optimize your ads manually yourself though. Make sure that, the algorithm is actually creating ads that are effective. So more on that in a second though. So budget and schedule, we kind of already touched on that. What I like doing though is do not go live immediately. I always like scheduling the ads go live the next day, unless it's really urgent. But I like to go live on the next day just to ensure that the budget pacing is smooth and that the ad has time to be approved before it's actually live. If this is your first ad, it might take a while to get your ad approved, just a heads up. And then you can add any ad spend limits through the hidden drop down here. And here's the really important part too, your audience. Okay, so with your audience, go broader. I've said this in the previous year's tutorial, the same remains true. So the reason for that is because the algorithm has just become so good at optimizing and really honing in on the audience that works. It has become a bit trickier because of iOS 14, etc. And it's harder to identify through data your specific audience, and that's the reason why you want to go significantly broader. Particularly if you're using the new Advantage campaign budget, it is better to go broader because the algorithm will be on your side here. So it really does help you in honing in on that right audience. This is what I like to do. I like to go broad and then niche it in. So for example, if we're selling the tech accessories, I would just write in technology here. High tech could be one. Okay, and then we're going to click a narrow audience and then think of this as a Venn diagram. The first audience is high tech, and then the second audience is going to be another niche or interest applicable to tech. And so we're going to sort of identify the people that are in the middle between these two circles. So an example of this could be CNET, which is a big media tech publication that I love reading myself. And so we're going to be targeting people that like tech, high tech, and also CNET specifically. And then I recommend, again, Advantage detailed targeting. This just allows you to test and allow the algorithm to reach people beyond this particular targeting option. And then just look over at audience definition, ensure that you are still within the green, you're not too specific, you're not too broad. To be honest, an estimated audience size to me of 100,000 is too low, particularly if you're just getting started and testing out this audience. I would be looking at more the million mark. That is my overall recommendation, but it really does depend on a lot of variables. But stick with broader rather than more niche at the very beginning anyway, and allow the algorithm some time and budget and money to optimize that. And then you can also save this audience if particular audiences are working for you. I'm going to go ahead and save this audience. Let's call this tech test, and I'll show you why that is important in a moment. So with placements, here's where we're going to get a bit more manual. I don't like going with automatic placements. I like going with manual placements. The reason being is because when we have the video ad that we have ready, that we created on InVideo, we want that placed only specifically on Instagram and Facebook as an example, and then on the feed only. So I don't want it placed on the Facebook Marketplace. I don't want it placed on Facebook right-hand column, Facebook Business Explore. But Facebook video feeds, Instagram Explore pages, they are still completely relevant. So sort of tailor it to the ad that we have ready. I like to go with Facebook feed, Instagram feed, video feeds, Instagram Explore, and then stories and reels are also applicable because remember, we're going with the video, vertical video. So all of this is still applicable too. In-stream ads, I usually tick off. Ads on Facebook Reels is fine. I don't go with search results, and then I don't go with Facebook Instant Articles, and that everything else I leave. If you click on the drop down here too, you can get very specific. You can target the device, only connected to Wi-Fi. Really does depend, sort of use your common sense. It does depend on what you're selling. If you're selling, an iPhone case, then identify only iPhone users, for example. And then brand safety, this is not too important. Just make sure that you have your inventory filter on as standard inventory. If you go full inventory, basically you're going to be targeting everything where it might not be PG. Let's just say that. So stick with the standard inventory filter. Everything else is typically fine unless you want to avoid specific areas or you have like a block list that you don't want to appear on, for example. And then optimization and delivery. This is a bit more advanced, so I'm going to leave it at that. We don't need to touch that right now, particularly when we have advantage on. So click next. Now, here is the very important part. Because we have a dynamic creative on, things are much easier. We don't need to create a whole ton of variations. Facebook is actually going to do that and it's going to test it for us. What we do need to do though is make sure that you link your Facebook page. If you don't already have a page, create a page and then I'll link it up. Then before we just upload our creative or our video, untick multi-advertiser ads. We do not want to be appearing next to multiple ads. This just ensures that we get the most eyeballs or the most focus and attention on the single ad that we're creating right now. And then this is where you're going to upload your video. So click select videos. And then make sure you select your video. I am uploading the video that we just created in InVideo as part of this tutorial. And then if it's in Google Drive, you can also upload it from Google Drive. Allow it some time to upload, and once it's uploaded, we're going to now just optimize the ad a little more, and then we're almost ready to go. Now that it's finally uploaded, Facebook does review the media, so it makes sure that it doesn't go against its policies. So make sure you have some buffer time before you actually go live to get the ad approved and also the the video that we just uploaded. By the way, when I say creative, when I say ad copy, what that means is creative means the video or image that we're uploading. The ad copy means the actual like text that we're writing up. So click continue. Another new feature that you absolutely want turned on is optimize creative for each person. And what this does is it allows Facebook to change the video or photo very slightly, whether that adds a mirror image or whether that turns the sound on and off, depending on what the specific user's habits are on Facebook and Instagram. It's a great way to optimize the ad automatically without us doing anything else. So I like having that on. It seems to work well. I don't see a major difference when I turn this on and off, but given like what it actually does, I think it's a good idea to have it on. Okay, so with your primary text, Facebook now gives you text suggestions. So you can see on the left-hand side how it will appear and what their suggestions are. But here's my personal suggestion. Always have in the first sentence a hook line. So that might be like 30% off, or this might be a great gift for you. That's an example of a hook line. Then in the second sentence, you can have a bit more about the product, what it is, what the benefits are. Don't make the text overly long. That's something that I've seen over the years. Don't go with a whole bunch of text, like paragraphs worth. I find that what works better these days is just something short and sharp. And I think you've seen that anyway when we're looking at the competitor research as an example of that. Short and sharp, sweet is the way to go. And then the headline, usually what I like having here is the unique selling point, the benefit, or the type of sale that we're running. So it could be like 30% off, limited time only, as an example of that. And then the description is just to follow up on the headline itself. I'm just gonna have a test here. But as a recommendation here, it's just to complement the headline. So again, depending on what you're selling, make sure that it does complement the headline there as a follow-up text. And then add in your website URL. I'm just gonna add in my own URL as an example. And then here, click add preview, turn it on, and we can quickly see an ad preview of what we've just created. So as you can see here, we've got the hook line, we've got the product description, and best of all, we have that full video ad right here. This is really going to get where we're going to get the attention. So you can see that's our URL. Let's go advanced preview here, go larger. So if I zoom in here, we've got the URL here, we've got the headline, and then we've got the description, and then we've got the CTA button, which we're gonna change in a second. But again, make sure that the hook line and a product description is there. That is extremely important. But what most people are gonna see first anyway is the video ad itself. It's gonna start playing when they auto scroll. So make sure that the video ad on InVideo is the best that it possibly can be. It's short, snappy, the music's there, etc., that sort of stuff. I can't stress how important the personalized video ad is this year. And it's going to be short, like not just any video, it's short form video that speaks directly to the audience. And then with display link, you can change how your display URL is shown. And then the call to action, this is very important. If you run a service agency, then you want them to contact you, then change it to contact us. In this particular case, we're going to go shop now. And then go down here, tracking. So tracking is a bit more advanced, but I'll make it as simple as possible. If you have specific campaigns that you're running, so Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you might want to add BFCM as a URL parameter, or you can also build out a URL parameter here. Thankfully, Facebook has updated this to guide you a bit better. But when you're initially testing as a beginner, don't worry too much about this. This is a bit more technical. This is a bit more advanced when it comes to digital marketing. So don't worry about this all too much. But it is there for those who want to keep specific track of their campaigns and get more granular in details when using other ad platforms, or I shouldn't say ad platforms, analytic platforms such as Google Analytics. That is it. We're going to click publish and then allow, some time for it to be reviewed by Facebook. And then there we have it. Your Facebook ad is essentially live. So I want to show you a couple more things that are extremely important before you go off and actually set your ad live. And the second thing is your audiences. We want to basically reuse the data that you have paid for via Facebook ads. We don't just want to pay for these ads and then not do anything with the data that we get given, right? So in order to leverage this type of data, we're going to go back and, remember when we created that saved audience? Well, we can do more than just saving audiences. We can also create audiences here. We can create a custom audience and a lookalike audience and more. So when it comes to custom audiences, let's click on it. We can create audiences based on your website's data. So what I mean by that is when people come onto your website, they're saved as through the pixel that we talked about, and we can target them again. That's retargeting. We can also use a customer list. If you have a customer list already, if you're a pre-existing business, we can target them specifically through a customer list that you can upload. We can also base it on app activity if you already have an app. And then we also have offline activity even if you run a brick and mortar store. Now, here's a really powerful stuff, the meta sources video. Because we're running a video ad, and that is my 100% recommendation, if you have the InVideo video ad, use that video and retarget people that have viewed that video. So I'll give you a quick example. By clicking video and click next, we can choose people that viewed at least 3 seconds of the video, 10 seconds of the video. We can go through play and then see people who have watched at least 25, 50, etc. % of your video. And then we can target how many days. So, within the last year of people viewing that ad, the last month, the last 30 days, That's up to you. And then we're going to name that audience, 365 days, 25% of, XYZ video. And then you can have a description to make sure that you don't forget about what this specific target audience is. And then I'm just going to type in test here. Then you're going to click choose videos. Because I haven't, obviously gone live with a video, I can't choose a specific video here, but you're going to go ahead and choose the video that you've gone live with and then click create audience. That's all there is to it. And that is the power of using your data that you've rightly paid for and then targeting those specific audiences with different offers or, different parts of your website. That sort of stuff. And that's where it gets really, really interesting. You can also create a lookalike audience based on, a potential customer list that you have, the data that we've already generated through these ads. Lookalike audiences are essentially what the name suggests. It looks like that audience that we've already targeted that already works for you. And that's when you're really going to see big results, and it's going to be exponential growth. And that's how most businesses gain results, and most businesses gain profitable ads through creating specific niches and audiences and leveraging the data that you've already paid for. The next step from here is to go live and optimize your ads and start to retarget your customers, which is sort of what we just touched on. And this means to place ads in front of those who have visited your website or has already shown interest in your business. This is practically where most of your sales will come from. And I'll drop a link to a free advanced web class that I've hosted where you can build upon what you learned in this video today to grow your sales and get really serious with your Facebook and Instagram ads. I'll also drop a link to our full Facebook ads course if you found today's tutorial useful and you're interested in learning the complete ins and outs of Facebook ads and social media marketing. I've included all my experience as a digital marketing manager in my previous corporate jobs and everything I've learned building e-commerce businesses into that particular course. So yeah, I'll drop all the notes and links in the description box so you can learn at your own pace. And if you finally made it all the way to the end of this tutorial, I hope you learned a thing or two, and drop the code word comment metaverse and I'll give it a like for making it to the very end of this tutorial. I'll also drop a video right here to a Snap Ads tutorial if you want to learn more about social media ads, and so you can reuse your ads across different platforms like Snapchat. So go ahead and check it out. There's also a free ads credit there so you can get started. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.